So my name is Carlos, my nickname is Fictitious, and I'm from Armalusa. Okay, so Armalusa is a community based in Portugal. I would say 99.9% of the players are Portuguese. Personally, I like to play it as realistic as it gets. We're a pretty tight community. We're few, but good. Yeah, we've been practicing. We have a rough strategy lined up. Olá, meu nome é Carlos, o meu nick é Fictitious. Vou jogar pela Armalusa e somos de Portugal.
I'm Galevski from OFCRA French community. We are a French association playing Arma free for 9 years, and we are pleased to attend such an event, the Endgame tournament. We like to play Arma in Elite mode, in PvP mode only. Well, we know that the gameplay of the tournament is not exactly what we used to deal with, but it's also the case for all of our opponents, so we're just here to have fun. Big thanks to BI to entertain the community. We are developing many public missions and events for the French community. We did that this year. Hey, I'm Galevski from OFCRA community, and see you in game. Salut, c'est Galevski de l'OFCRA, à bientôt dans le jeu.
It's Armalusa versus OFCRA, and the first game starts now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 of the quarterfinal C bracket. Armalusa versus OFCRA. And again, spawning as Blue 4, we have the French community, OFCRA. And spawning in as Red 4, the Portuguese community, Armalusa. As well as, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is my co-host and co-commentator for this broadcast, Stardog. Both teams rushing towards their first objectives. What do they need to do to be successful in this game?
Yeah, well, I got a chance to speak to both these teams prior to this matchup, and specifically for Armalusa, the Portuguese community, which is the red side, it was all about speed. Speed was the undertone for their strategy. So speed in the first phase, second phase, third phase. Speed, speed, speed. So they're going to be looking to accomplish all of their objectives relatively quickly. For the other side, for the OFCRA, the French team, their strategy is very much in line with what we've learned from the first weekend of matches. And they were saying that once they secure their FOB, they're going to split up their forces between all 3 uplink locations, try to secure multiple uplink locations in phase 2, and then when they transition to phase 3, maintaining security of the schematics is going to be their primary focus, and then trying to escort those schematics onto a capture location utilizing some sort of armored vehicle, whether that be an Ifrit or a Hunter, something along those lines. And we have first contact with Blue 4 right now, which is the OFCRA community, securing their FOB.
Saying that, Stardog, they are still securing the FOB. One Green 4 still alive inside that base, but at the same time, the Red 4 have already secured their FOB and are moving on to phase number 2 of Endgame, mounting up their transports and heading out to those intel download sites.
Yeah, so it's once again speed, speed, speed for Armalusa, and they are off, they are mounted, and they are moving straight into phase 2.
Absolutely. Fictitious, we're on board with Fictitious right now as he's advancing forward at a very quick pace on that ATV. Now, as well, the Blue 4 have advanced to phase 2. Let's take an overview of what they're doing. Getting ready, getting set in those arsenal boxes, picking out the loadouts that they wish to choose, and are only now beginning to load up.
Yeah, so they're staying very much in line with this. The focus for Armalusa right now with speed is very much showing. They are out and running out the gates into phase 2. They're going to be on top of these objectives, which I think they're at Charlie right now. And OFCRA is a little bit slower, but we should see them splitting up their forces between multiple uplink locations here.
Fictitious, RC Killer on that Charlie position, taking out one Green 4 on that point, and advancing forward pretty quickly. They might have this objective secured before Blue 4 even gets to their first intel download site. Let's check the middle objective. Alpha also secured, or at least under contention by Red 4. 2 units of Red 4 on that point as well. Going to be engaging Green 4 on that point very, very shortly.
Yeah, it seems like it should only be a matter of time before Armalusa secures Charlie, starts uploading at that uplink location, and they have a large force. I count 6 players moving in to secure Alpha in the center right now.
Yeah,
I'd say advantage
yeah.
Red.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're on their points sooner. As we saw, they got through their FOB first phase sooner, and they've actually started both downloads as it stands. Let's check over with Blue Force, see what they're doing. The French are at Bravo, securing that objective right now, but they aren't anywhere else. They're currently, I think, all consolidated on this Bravo position. Meaning, I think the Red 4 at Alpha and Charlie have pretty much a free reign as it stands right now, Stardog.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Charlie to finish their download for Armalusa, and that'll be our transition into Phase 3. And that was
saying that, look
very
at Charlie,
much...
Stardog. Red 4 under attack. Never mind the consolidation approach. Kara is going to be advancing CQB style into this building right now. Him and his friendly pushing into that second room. Engagement on the floor. RC Killer takes him down. Defenders having the advantage inside this room. Pushing in again. RC Killer engaging and I think goes down to that French player. Meaning, Stardog, this is an interesting turn of events. Kara from the French community OFCRA will be able to start that download process for Blue 4 on that Charlie point.
That's a turn of events here. And now Blue now maintains Charlie and Bravo. I think the upload is completed at Bravo, and now they've begun it at Charlie. Let's see if they can hold that position.
I think it's also done at Alpha for Red 4. They're mounting up and getting away. So, I think this last point, Charlie, is going to be the designator of who will win phase number 2 in this first game.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see the contrast of the two sides right now, where Red was very much get out there, get to the uplinks as quickly as possible, which they did. They got there first. Now we have a contention at Charlie.
Great move. Yeah, I mean, these Red 4 players engaging Blue 4 through the window and have cleared up this base, meaning Red 4 can re-secure this area and begin that Charlie download once again.
I think this is safe to say this is the most contested we've seen phase 2 thus far in this tournament.
Yeah, very even. We thought, you know, going out of the gate here with Red 4 getting such a jump on the Blue 4 that they'd just be able to roll over them, but be able to, you know, get those intel downloads completed before Blue 4 could even reach them. But that has proved not to be the case, as this Charlie objective has been under contention for the last 2 minutes or so. Even now, I'd say, though, I don't know, Red 4 seems to have secured it fairly well. A good force around there securing that area.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be transitioning into phase 3 here, which we are. Armalusa has secured phase 2 with multiple uplinks, securing that final Charlie location. And they will be moving into phase 3 with the task to retrieve the schematics.
Let's check out that schematic location. It's just over by the cemetery. We've seen it here several times before. And again, this is probably one of the better locations for Blue 4 to kind of, I don't know, interfere with this schematic, grabbing the schematic in that process. Simply because there's only a few entrances into this graveyard complex. I believe one is over here and another a gate on the other side. So only real 2 or 3 entrances into this graveyard complex, able to kind of be infiltrated by Blue 4 before Red 4 can even arrive. But saying that, Red 4 in a very good position to pick up the schematics, and I think they're only going to send one player to grab those schematics while everybody else runs to their upload point. Interesting move.
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious about this decision here. I thought it was really advantageous for the red side, for Armalusa, seen as the starting position for the schematics. It was just behind the last uplink that they had just secured, as well as pretty close to their capture point on top of that hill. And instead of sending someone back to grab the schematics right away, they all decided to move up to secure the objectives, the score location first. I really would have liked to have seen them grab the schematics first and then get it up there.
To be honest, Star, taking a tactical overview of the map right now, it doesn't look like they'll be contested on this schematic upload point. Meaning, you know what, they can take their time and do this. Secure that hill first and grab the schematics later.
I disagree, because the longer they take to get those schematics, the more time they're given OFCRA to be able to get up there and contest this capture point.
That being said, if they're able to secure this upload point before the Blue 4 reinforcements arrive, that means they'll be in the position of the defenders and have the advantage while their attackers trying to resecure this point. 1 unit left for Blue 4 on top of this hill. 4 Red 4 on top of this hill, but the reinforcements are coming, but they are still quite a ways out. Galevsky, Yarmo, still a ways away, pushing up this hillside.
It's been very interesting to see how the strategies have developed from the first week into the second week, and how it's going to continue to evolve moving forward into the deeper stages of this tournament.
I mean, you see a whole bunch of different colors on top of this hillside now. It's beginning to become much more contested as players are advancing up towards this intel upload point. As we can see now on, I believe this is Kara's screen, that the schematics have been grabbed by Red 4, excuse me, and they are slowly advancing towards that point. Although I think they've actually haven't grabbed the schematics yet. I was looking at that fob marker.
You know, as much as they are being speedy as far as moving up to get on top of this capture point, they've completely disregarded. It looks like they have someone back there by the schematics, but it's been a good few minutes since anybody's actually. I mean, they haven't even touched the schematics yet.
Interesting. I'm not exactly sure if this is a maneuver to kind of make sure that schematics doesn't get dropped and picked up by the other team before that objective point is secured, or what exactly is going on here. But yeah, we see a Red 4 unit within 10 meters of that schematics, I guess, drop point. He just decided not to pick it up right now, Stardog.
Yeah, it's a good point. And now they've given the opportunity to OFCRA to actually. They now control the top of the hillside, and it's going to be tough to clear them out. I think you're right, though. I think that was the thought process for Armalusa, was to leave the schematics where they are, because then if they don't possess it to drop it, then blue can't actually obtain it until red first initially grabs the schematics. So I think that's the reason. I think they were just looking to secure the capture point before they even grab the schematics. And they just have somebody on standby sitting about 10 meters, 20 meters away from the schematics, ready to grab it. But now they've completely conceded the top of the hill and the capture point. So now they have to clear it out. And it's just going to be a continuing skirmish until they can either resecure the hill or they make another decision.
Tugga is danger close to that drop-off point, and he is looking right behind Heretic, shoots him in the back. We'll see if the Blue 4 can respond to this. Tugga repositioning himself. Alfred understands that there is a threat on that side. Tugga making perhaps a very good decision to push back into that foliage and just get ready for a new assault.
I think this is going to be very difficult for Armalusa to resecure this hillside, solely due to the fact that they can respawn on each other. The blue side can, and if they continue to engage, trade some kills, one here, two there, whatever, blue's just going to be able to continually respawn up on this location, and it's going to be very difficult for them to gain an advantage up on the top of that hill.
You gotta think, maybe perhaps they're going for a draw, right? I mean, they won Phase 2 endgame, so they get that little asterisk next to their point marker. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if there's 3 draws, then the team that has secured the majority of that Phase 2 won the Phase 2. The majority of times will move on. In the case where there's 2 wins from both teams and 1 draw, the team that secured the Phase 2 first in that draw game will advance. So perhaps they're aiming for a draw? I'm not exactly sure, but as you said, Star, like even looking at that schematic point, they have, a unit inside that cemetery complex. They have units covering it as well by the windmills. You gotta wonder, perhaps they're thinking that their role is to defend at this point rather than retrieve, and are holding at the schematics upload point, waiting for Blue 4 to come grab them.
No, I think they're aware that they need to secure this hilltop, but I think you're absolutely right. I don't think they're playing for the draw. I think they're trying to secure this and maybe secure a victory here. But given the fact that what you stated, that should this come to a draw, they did win Phase 2, and that they would be comfortable with having that, the edge in the tiebreaker. So it's a very consolidated approach, very calculated. If they can secure this hilltop, then great, they'll take the point for the win. But should it come to a draw, it seems as though that they may be comfortable with that. And we got a great engagement here on the hilltop. It's a 5-on-5, it looks like. 5-on-4, maybe. Red may actually take the hilltop here.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we see MicOne still online, Tugga's still online, Fictitious coming up. We see only 2 Blue 4 players, Heretic and another guy, just on top of this hill defending. But RC Killer is within danger close of these 2 Blue 4 players as he comes up on them right now, shoots them in the butt, and are beginning to secure the hill for Red 4. So now, Stardog, as Red 4 secures this hill, we get to see whether this really comes into fruition, what their strategy is. I mean, the hill is fairly secure. 1 guy, 2 guys left. It'll be decision. Yeah, there we go. And we see the schematics carrier now advancing towards it, about to pick it up. So this might have been their strategy all along, Stardog.
Yeah, it's looking like it might actually work for them. It appears that they've taken control of the hillside and that there are no blue remaining.
As we see the Ifrit for Red 4 coming in to pick up the schematics. This is a very interesting strategy. Markovsky advancing inside that effort with
Wow.
his carrier, and that hill is absolutely secured for
Yeah.
Red 4.
This is impressive.
Very impressive
We got some blue moving up on the side of the hillside right now, and now they're respawning by the carrier themselves. They're right behind the carrier in the Ifrit.
Oh man, so this might be a very close engagement, and they're getting fragged right now. The Ifrit gonna be backing up. Of course,
This
Ifrit
game is
armored.
far from over.
Yeah, indeed it
Just
is.
as it was looking like Red were gonna have a clean victory here. Blue has now intercepted the carrier en route to the capture point, and they're moving up to resecure the hilltop.
That Ifrit is still up, however, so I mean the flag carrier is not threatened for now. That vehicle is armored, so it was able to sustain a whole bunch of small arms fire from Blue 4. And as you said, yeah, definitely, we're going to be having a close quarters engagement in top of this tower as Kara comes up and is able to engage. Oh, I'm playing some games. Finally shooting my Chronics. Yeah, so as you said, Stardog, this hill becoming to be more contested as this round progresses.
Yeah. And I think you were absolutely right by Red not picking up the schematics beforehand. They were maintaining security of it, knowing that Blue couldn't obtain it. And now that they've picked it up to try and secure the hilltop, or secure the capture, now the game becomes controlling the schematics, maintaining its security, keeping it protected, keeping it mobile in a light armored vehicle, while the two sides now compete for contention of the hilltop and the capture point.
And again, ultimately, Star, I mean, if the game does come to a draw, so be it. I mean, Red 4 did secure phase 2 first, meaning they have the advantage going into the third and fourth games, not third and fourth, excuse me, the second and third games, whether those games becomes draws themselves.
Yeah, I think they're content with the draw, but I think they're really playing for the victory here.
Let's take a quick look at that carrier. There he is. He's way out there in his Ifrit, just biding time, again, waiting for that hill to become secured for his team.
Blue has once again taken the top of the hilltop.
Very, very back and forth on top of this upload point. A lot of Blue 4 down right now, so we can see all the dead on the screen here. Yeah, Blue 4 taking fire with heavy explosives come down on top of that hill. Red 4 pushing up to resecure.
Yes, it's been back and forth.
Pushing in the church complex right now. Heretic remains inside that church, but goes down. Red 4 resecuring the top of this hill.
Yeah.
What is the carrier doing?
Now,
Getting closer.
yeah, the carrier's
getting
going the
closer.
opposite direction. I thought that they may have been in communication with him that he was coming to... now he's turned around and he's coming back.
Definitely. Where's the Blue 4 to defend against this? I don't really see them. Oh, there's... No, I don't know. There they go.
The majority of them are dead.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, this might be that clean break that we talked about earlier, unless Blue 4 are able to spawn in at a miraculous location and advance super close. As we see, they're finally spawning in on the rear, on the 6 of this hillside.
Yep.
But it might be too
now
late. Might be too late. Carrier's already on position.
It might be. Blue was still very close.
Slow pace. Only 2 of them at this point, though.
This
Actually,
could be it.
Surrounded. Smoke going down, covering that upload point.
Wow.
Carrier dismounts. As we can see that animation that will be happening momentarily. The schematics is going to be uploading for Red 4.
I think this may be it right here. I think this is an Armalusa victory, game 1.
I think you're right. As you can see, the upload point progressing very, very steadily. That Ifrit is blocking that download process. Arctic, I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Red
goes
takes
down.
game 1.
Indeed they do. Wow, that was an epic battle for that hilltop there. We hop into game number 2 of the quarterfinals C here. Spawning in as Blue 4 in their warm-up phase. The Portuguese community, Armalusa. And spawning in as Red 4. They're currently down 1-0. The French community, OFCRA. The warm-up phase is just about to end here, Stardog, and traditionally, we've seen this Red 4 side have the advantage in this first phase of endgame. We'll see if we can kind of maintain that trend in this game.
Yeah, initially I think I'm going to watch the Armalusa side, seeing as though speed is their biggest point right now. So I'm going to see how quickly they get out of the gate into phase 1, heading towards their FOB, and just watch how fast they're moving. Try to compare it to the red side as well. And then really, I'm going to be watching the OFCRA team in their transition from phase 1 into phase 2 to see how quickly they move from securing the FOB into phase 2 and trying to get to the uplinks. Because I feel like that's where they could really kind of close the gap as far as their biggest improvement from game 1 into game 2. I feel like that's where we could really see it, is their transition from the FOB to the uplinks into phase 2.
Absolutely, and right now let's take a quick overview of that Red 4 FOB site. Both teams advancing pretty quick. They looks like they split up into two different directions, going to be assaulting this FOB from two sides, pincering the Green 4 inside. Ooh, no engagement so far, so it looks like we're going to have a close quarter engagements inside this FOB complex. I don't think that's fairly normal. Normally we see Red 4 shooting from this hillside on top of this FOB complex, but nope, we're going to have a close quarter engagement at this site.
Yeah, Blue has a slight jump on Red once again. They've established first contact before Red did, and they're clearing it out, but it's still very neck and neck right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Blue 4 really quickly as they are already
They've
mounting
secured the
their
FOB,
vehicles and
they're
heading
moving
out. So very reminiscent of the first game, Stardog. Armalusa on point, getting that FOB secured and leaving as soon as possible.
I'm a little bit... Red is... They have it secured, but they're all gathering around the virtual arsenal here and customizing some loadouts. I really wish to see them... Now they're starting to step off. They're slightly behind, once again, their competitors, getting into phase 2.
Absolutely, we're going to be on board with Fictitious as he advances as a very quick pace towards that Charlie objective. Going to be dismounting just before that first independent force there. There you go, frag out off the bat here is... I don't know, I think that'll be pretty effective. Boom, yeah, 2 down with that frag. Awesome nade. A very, very good start for Blue 4 at this Charlie objective. 3 of those independent defenders just went down super, super quickly. There's the last one, too. So that objective is cleared.
Now, we have Red just moving in. It looks like we have a unit just moving into their first initial uplink location at Bravo. And we've got the remainder of the Blue 4 forces that have now split off from Armalusa and heading in towards the Alpha, the centralized location right now, moving up that main road.
Getting that gate open. Going to be engaging the first Green 4 patrol advancing down that road.
Yeah, once again, advantage Blue, which is Armalusa at this time. OFCRA's slightly behind, but they are sticking with their strategy. They've split off another team, which is heading into Alpha right now, so we're going to have a 3-way fight. I think Blue still has the majority of forces on that that one side, the Blue 4 side. Moving into clear Alpha right now. Red now has a very similar strength in forces, 4 players moving into Alpha.
It's going to be 4 versus 5 at this point, Stardog. Now, it looks like Markovsky was gotten back up, 6 versus 6. Oh, actually, Markovsky goes down again, 5 versus 4, once more. Wow, what a great engagement, but looks like Green 4 is already inside that church complex, while Red 4 is not. Green 4 looking to start that upload. T-Master on point.
Blue has begun the Alpha download. Red is still here in contention. They're going to have to move in and stop that download.
Galevsky on point, getting ready to engage the Blue 4 inside that complex. Nades going out. We're actually fairly effective. I think the Blue 4 presence on this point has been severely reduced.
Yeah,
looks like they're going to be securing it for themselves, yeah.
That's really good to see from OFCRA. They really needed to win that engagement there. They are now securing Alpha. Bravo up download has just completed, and Alpha's just about halfway done. So it looks like we're going to have OFCRA moving into phase 3 here. We have a couple of Blue 4 moving into contest Alpha right now, but it might be a little too late.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll make it. Well, I guess we're going to see as Tugga is going to be shooting through that fence or even launching nades, which is even perhaps more effective.
This is going to be good.
It's going to be done. There we go.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Or round 2.
It'll be really interesting to see. Oh, we got a big engagement here at Alpha.
Nades
but
going
as I was
going to
say,
close.
It's going to be very interesting to see how OFCRA transitions into phase 3 and what strategy they choose to adopt. If it's going to be something similar from what we saw from Armalusa last time, or if it'll be something different. Once again, when I spoke with OFCRA, they were suggesting to me that they're going to try to maintain the schematics in armored transport, something similar to what we saw at the end of the last game, what Armalusa was doing. But the difference there being is where Armalusa decided not to grab the schematics for a large period of that time until the top of the hill was secured. We may see OFCRA here grab the schematics, which they do. They already have possession of the schematics right now.
Yep, they're currently holding inside the schematic building, perhaps just getting, just getting healed up a little bit, which is, I think, exactly what they're about to do. They do have a transport Vic outside. It's unarmored, but it definitely is faster than walking.
Now, it appears that the Armalusa side has decided to take up a defensive position as to what we've been familiar to seeing from the team that has not secured Phase 2. The team that will be defending the capture point. And so they're now taking up defensive positions up on that hilltop.
Lots of OFCRA were just killed there, which may have been a friendly fire. Or no, it was a crash, actually. Fictitious. Destroying that OFCRA force. Finally going down to Alfred, but got 3 kills in the process. Awesome job.
Yeah, it appears that OFCRA is just keeping the carrier up in that house where they grabbed it. So they grabbed it and they're just kind of keeping it there for a time being.
You think this is a similar strategy? Just kind of holding in the objective house, just waiting for that hill to be secured, and then advance? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it, though, because once you grab the schematics, then it's a universal indicator where both sides know where the carrier holding the schematics are, whereas if you don't grab it off the initial get-go, my understanding is that only the team that has the retrieve option knows where the schematics are.
That is true.
Can't lose possession of it.
Granted, as it stands now, if that carrier stays inside that house, he's actually not able to be seen by Blue 4. If you are the carrier, you're in a point where you have hard cover, or at least soft cover, above your head, let's say, or you're above a tree or in a house, the enemy team can't see your location. It's similar to, imagine if a drone was looking down at your position with a camera. Would he be able to see you or not? Even still, Markovsky advancing away from the rest of his force, kind of moving through CQB style through this urban environment, perhaps on a bid to destroy that flag carrier, or the schematics carrier, excuse me.
Yeah, I think what they're waiting to do is, I think they're trying to get a transport to the carrier. Yeah, here it comes. It's coming all the way around the north side, it appears.
And it must be the armored one, right? Yeah, it is the armored one. Another Ifrit advancing. So, I mean, they could have taken this off-road over here, but I think they elected to maybe just have something a little bit more bulletproof on their advance. Perhaps, Starta, we could be seeing, because I don't see any like consolidated pushes towards that hillside, we could be seeing something similar to the Bohemia Interactive dev squad in their first game, pushing up that carrier in the Ifrit onto that point, kind of deploying smoke, and just pouring out from respawns from that carrier onto that objective point.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. It'll be interesting to see what the decision here. They have a decision they need to make. Now, we do have a Blue 4 patrol kind of just moving right around the perimeter of where that carrier is in the vehicle that just rolled up. I'm not sure what he's trying to do out there, but OFCRA definitely has a decision to make here. And that is, how are you going to secure the hill? Are you just going to do what you suggested? Or are they just going to drive up in force, try to respawn on that location, similar to what the Bohemia Dev Squad has done? Or are they going to do something similar to what we've seen in other matches, where it's keep the carrier secure, keep him mobile, continue to respawn, and then until that hill is secured, don't bring the carrier in until it's secure. But we have now a Blue 4 in pursuit of that carrier. He's trailing behind them about, I don't know, maybe 100 meters. But he's following them. He's in pursuit. He is mobile in another vehicle.
I think that Red 4 is now on the other side of the MSR. He's going to have a little bit more trouble advancing. They are going up a pretty steep incline, so it might just be a weird case of two vehicles moving really slowly up a hill, following each other. But yeah, that Ifrit is moving up, perhaps to take on this objective point from the flank, not from head on.
Now, it'll be interesting to keep tabs. I'm going to keep watching on this guy that's in pursuit of the carrier right now. But I'm looking at Blue. We very much know what their strategy is right now. And they're just trying to secure that hill, make sure that the schematics don't get captured, underneath of their nose or whatever. But I'm looking at Red, and their forces are all kind of spread out. They have a 2-man element trying to secure the hilltop right now. They have another 3-man element that's pretty spread out in the center of town, moving towards the hill. And now they have 1 man that just dismounted from the carrier. So they're all kind of all over the place right now. I'd like to see a more kind of consolidated effort from the red side.
Yeah, definitely. Flip for Flap is currently right on top of that objective point. Goes down to, I believe, combined small arms and explosive fire. That 3-man element may just be flanked by a Blue 4 that's driving really, really close in an off-road. Oh, Stardock, look at this on top of the hill. We have an interesting battle, truck versus truck. As Fictitious and the flag carrier are going to go at it. Fictitious trying to run over Yermo, not able to be successful. takes the GL to the face. Hunter don't care. He's going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a cat and mouse game up here.
There's the first wheel. Second wheel. Fictitious may just be forced to dismount his vehicle at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty big. He's no longer going to be able to pursue that carrier.
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying. Yermo going to be evacuating his position, seeing Fictitious is not much of a threat. Fictitious dismounting, engaging Yermo on top of this hillside, but goes down to...
I have another
fire.
white pickup truck moving up to the carrier right now. I don't know who that is. I don't have any markers. I don't know. Is that a Blue 4 player?
It is a Blue 4. It's Markovsky, and I think he might have just disabled his truck. No, he's still fine. But yep, he's chasing, and Stardog, these two units on top of the hill behind them, Flipper, Flap, and Yermo, are still quite away from the objective, and, you know, they're not able to be that useful to the flag carrier at this point.
Yeah, the one thing that, you know, OFCRA has time on their side. They have possession of the schematics. They have the ability to be able to try and continue to organize and secure that hill. As long as they maintain possession of these schematics, time is in their favor.
Absolutely. We see the Ifrit currently halted with the flag carrier inside. Perhaps as the other team, or as OFCRA kind of just consolidates their forces and decides on a plan of action of what they're going to do here. It seems like the Ifrit's going to be moving back, picking up some of his forces for a further advance.
Yep, looks like it. I think the guy up in the tower for the Blue 4 side is now engaging that Ifrit, or the carrier. And we have an engagement on the top of the hill. Heretic from OFCRA moving in alone. T-Master moving up on him.
Gonna be close towards engagement. They see each other. One shot goes down. He decides to pull back. Yeah, there we go. Nade's going out. That's probably his best bet at this point in this uphill battle.
Yeah, I'm still... without a consolidated effort from OFCRA, I don't see them taking this hilltop. They seem to be going in ones and twos. I would really like to see a consolidated push.
I do think that Heretic, as being a distraction, is being fairly effective at this point, as I guess the majority of the Red 4 team, OFCRA, is currently advancing on the other side of the hill, with Markovsky as only the frontline defense for Blue 4, and he goes down.
Heretic's still up on that hilltop.
We see very much a kind of envelopment maneuver from Red 4 at this point, as they seem to be all around this hillside. Heretic does go down on top of that hillside.
Now, I do like what OFCRA's doing as far as maintaining the carrier in an armored transport.
Hey, Stardog, here's a question: how did this Blue 4 get on top of this church? How did he get up here?
On top of a church?
Yeah, I guess he was blown up on top. Well, I mean, he had an
Oh, he's dead. He's a body.
Yeah.
I guess that's how it happened.
What a death.
I didn't even see that guy there until you pointed him out. As I was saying, I do like what I see from OFCRA as far as maintaining the schematics in an armored transport, keeping it mobile, keeping it on standby so that they can very easily bring it in secured and pretty quickly to the capture location. Now, what I would like to see is to see it in a position where it could much easier get up onto that position, because right now they have him about maybe 3/4 of a way up a hillside in some rocks. And he's actually not even mobile at this time. I'd like to see him be more mobile, somewhere out, maneuvering on the flanks, somewhere where he could get up to the hill in a much faster response time rather than kind of where he's sitting at this time.
Well, this might be the consolidated effort you were talking about, Stardog, is Red 4 pushing from two different sides up onto that hillside complex. Green 4,
this is the most...
Blue 4 holding their own at this time.
This is the most consolidated effort we've seen from Red right now. They're realizing it, and they're pushing up on two sides, actually. The majority of their forces are on that one side, and then they got a two-man element on the opposite side of the hill.
RC Killer's still up. Units still up inside that tower. T-Master inside the church. Fictitious is going to be flanking the units. This might be a stalling of the Red 4 attack at this time.
Yeah, kudos to Armalusa, because since Phase 3 has started, they have not conceded this hilltop. Whereas last match, it was a back and forth. Red controls it, now Blue controls it, now Red, and so on and so forth. This match, it's been all Armalusa on top of this hill, and they have not given it up once.
Yeah, absolutely. You can say perhaps that's just because Red 4 wasn't able to make a consolidated attack Ones and twos coming in won't be able to dislodge a very organized, full-strength team on top of this hillside.
There's only another maybe few minutes where Red can continue to try and take this hilltop until they need to make a decision where, all right, we got to get that schematics up on top of the hilltop now because they're running out of time.
That being said, I think they are making progress. If we look at the Blue 4 force around this hillside, it's been, I don't know, its numbers have dropped off quite a bit. Red 4 making a new approach on top of their team leader Yermo, who just goes down, but still, I think 4 or 5 units on that flank able to attack the hill. And I don't think they'll face much opposition on top of it. 2 units in the tower, 1 in the church. That's all that's defending this hilltop at this time.
Yeah, if OFCRA had a chance, this is probably the best one they're going to get. They really need to move up in force and secure this hilltop.
RC Killer looking to flank as he advances on the hillside from that attack direction. Will he be able to get Heretic on the other side of this rocks? Perhaps not.
Now the carrier is moving. He's closing some distance.
That might be an end for T-Masters. The frag goes off. Nope, stays alive. Shoots through the windows. Finally goes down.
Now you may have missed it, but there was a Blue 4 infantry, a one-man element that was over by that Ifrit that had startled him and forced that Ifrit off that location. It is now mobile with the schematics.
Yeah, he is
OFCRA
down that
still
MSR,
maintains possession
away.
of it. Yep.
I mean, it's a good attack, but I don't see the team leader anywhere around here. Well, he's at the base of the hill, but it has been stalled and held off by Blue 4 for now.
Yep. And I much prefer to see what I'm seeing from the carrier now. Well, as I say that, it looks like he's stopping his vehicle once again. But I much prefer to see it mobile and keeping it moving somewhere within, you know, a couple hundred meters of the capture point, just maneuvering on the flanks. But it looks like he's going to stay stationary again.
MicOne from his tower, engaging that Ifrit with small arms. Not able to be too effective at this range, but if he's able to pop a wheel, that'll severely disable the speed of that carrier's vehicle. Another assault coming up from Red 4 right now, Starduck.
Yeah, it's been Blue has been very stubborn on this hilltop, and they're not going to give it up without a fight.
Frags being traded
Now,
at this point.
This has been the most progress I've seen from Red to this point. They may actually be able to do this.
Maybe Heretic is able to take out RC Killer on that rock complex right there.
I like what I'm seeing from Red's positioning right now.
MicOne is down in the tower. Another frag takes out another
They're now
unit
on the
tower.
hilltop. They're clearing the
They have
church.
secured it except for this church complex. T-Master inside, taking fire. On his flank, he's going to be exiting and getting shot. Oh, wow.
I feel like they need to anticipate this. They need to make the call and bring the schematics in now while they have the opportunity.
Ran away, but unfortunately into the jaws of death as he goes down a fire of Heretic.
I can't help but feel like the schematics are too far from the objective right now.
Where are they, Stardog? Oh, wow, they are ways away. Yeah, wow. Wow, you see a huge team lead spawn right there as they all spawn on Fictitious and may just have the force to retake this hill. Still 3 Red 4 on top of this, 4 Red 4 on top of this hill defending. This
now
is
the
their best
schematics are
moment.
en route. And Blue 4 are now moving up the hillside once again to contest. They're going to be right in between the schematics location and the hilltop.
Luckily it's in an Ifrit, so they are able to move forward. If this Ifrit is able to keep its speed, it shouldn't be that susceptible to frags and small arm. The carrier clearing a way through the forest and pushing up onto this hillside, and it looks clear of Blue 4 with Red just swarming this Ifrit.
Yeah, that carrier just split the entirety of the Blue 4 line. He just drove straight through it.
And that just might be game start. I guess that carrier dismounts, is going to be uploading the schematics. Blue 4 in a position to launch a counterattack, but they are being threatened by Alfred at this time.
That's impressive. Blue needs to make a push now if they're going to contest this, but that was really impressive to see from OFCRA.
This may be the final engagement of this game. We might tie it up 1-1 as Red 4 is currently more than halfway done that upload process. And Blue 4 wiped out with some extremely accurate frags.
Good game.
That is 1-1.
Going to game 3.
Game 3 indeed. As we hop to game number 3, Stardog. The decider. Both teams are tied 1-1. Game number 3 will determine who will move on to the semifinals from this quarterfinal C bracket. Spawning in as Red 4. the Portuguese community, Armalusa. And spawning in as blue 4, the French community, OFCRA.
Now, one thing that I do expect is for the first 2 matches, the team that has secured Phase 2 has been the victor. So if you know this trend continues, then we should expect to see the team that secures Phase 2 have a good chance at winning this match.
Absolutely. We're taking an overview of the Red 4 FOB. That Green 4 patrol is in a pretty open position, so if the game starts fairly quickly, they get up to their firing positions, they just might be able to take out the majority of these Green 4 defenders before they have a chance to get into cover.
Now, I think Red has a slight jump on Blue, getting to their FOB first, and the majority of the Green 4 that occupy this FOB are right now patrolling outside, so if they can get this engagement early, they may be able to catch them in the open.
That's what we see happening. T-Master engaging the Green 4 as they're in the open before they can hop into the protective barrier within that FOB complex.
Still no engagements from Blue. They're still moving on the objective. And there's first
Red 4 advancing at a very quick pace inside this FOB complex. They're going to be getting a close quarters engagement with the Green 4. That's 1 Green 4 remaining on that FOB. They might be able to secure this Red 4 FOB fairly shortly. There we go. Last Green 4 down. That just might be them moving into the end game, or phase number 2, before Blue 4 can even really get a shot off.
That was the fastest we've ever seen Phase 1 be secured. That was 1 minute and 50 seconds in this tournament. That was the fastest. And I would really like to see them make the most of that specifically and just get out and get to those uplinks as quickly as possible.
Last Green 4, aptly named Strambopolis, goes down to Blue 4 fired, quickly mounting their victors and are going to be advancing, but again, just a little bit late compared to their Red 4 opponents.
Yeah, it's very close. I don't think it's going to be that significant. Seeing as what we saw from OFCRA last time, they were even further behind in the last match, and they were still able to pull out with Phase 2. So they're almost neck and neck with them right now. Although they still have a good amount of guys still leaving their FOB. I know that they already had 1 element move out. The majority of their team still hasn't left the FOB, so we'll see how this plays out. I still would say slight advantage Red.
Yeah, definitely, I'd agree with you. All of Red 4 at this time, like you said, have moved out of their FOB. Blue 4 still have 3 units inside. Let's take a look at those objectives right now. Charlie, not threatened by Blue 4 at this time. The forward Blue 4 element looks to be going towards Alpha or perhaps even the Bravo objective. Red 4 already securing that Bravo point, engaging Green 4 as we speak.
Yeah, Red's moving in on Alpha now as well. They're moving in on the north side. There's going to be a Blue 4 element on their eastern flank. Moving in a white pickup truck.
How about units moving towards that center Alpha element? Wow, a lot of Red 4 dismounting. We might have a close quarters engagement right now between Red 4 and Blue 4 as they dismount their Vix. Red 4 getting the better of it, though. Yeah, they take out 2 Red 4 without any casualties. Alfred alone in this field right now. He might just try to advance and heal up his friendlies. Nope, he's deciding to advance forward instead.
Yeah, it appears that Red have identified that Phase 2 came down to the engagement at Alpha, and they have the majority of their forces once again there, ready for a fight, looking to secure that. Alpha, on the other hand, had the majority of their forces over securing Charlie. I really wish that they would have identified Alpha and put up a fight here. It looks like they're about to lose Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, lots of units here making that download go super quickly as Alfred, the last hope for Blue 4 on this Alpha point. I don't think he'll be able to get here in time as Alpha's just about to be secured for Red 4. I think Bravo's already been secured for Red 4. Ooh,
now,
maybe not.
It's important for
There we
Armalusa.
go, phase 3. Yep, there we go. Red 4 able to secure both intel download sites very quickly.
That was fast. I didn't even see the time check on that, but that may have been a record time as well for Phase 2.
I think it was, yeah. Wow, I mean, so if the trend continues from what we've seen from the last 2 games, it's looking to be perhaps an Armalusa victory as they have secured Phase 2 first, and we've seen the team that secures Phase 2 first win the game in both instances.
Well, they've been very impressive in this final match so far. Now, the schematics are very much on the opposite side of the, the play area from their location. It's east of their position. Same position that it was for OFCRA last time, but it's Armalusa that's tasked to retrieve it this time. And it's very far off onto that eastern flank. They're gonna... It looks like they're adopting the same strategy that they had in the first match. They're gonna move back to secure the hill first before securing the schematics. They've actually sent someone back to their FOB. Yeah, they've sent somebody back to their FOB to grab, it looks like to be the armored transport.
Engagement's going on in the center of town right now. Apoy's taking out Kara in this little courtyard complex.
So now what we're going to see is we're in the transition period into Phase 3. Blue 4, I would expect to see them adopt a defensive position on top of the capture point as from what we've seen in them in the first match. And I expect to see from Red a very similar approach where they try to secure the hilltop before securing the schematics. And if they should secure the schematics, then to keep it mobile in some sort of protected armored transport.
Let's take a look at where that unit in the armored Ifrit is. There he is. He's just left his base. Markovsky going to be advancing through to the schematic upload, or to the schematic drop-off point, but he's got to get through the whole of the urban environment in this town first, so he's got to make a decision of how he's going to get there. Nobody really near that schematic drop-off point at this point, Stardog.
Yeah, all forces are kind of spread out in the center of the town right now. The majority of the blue are gravitating towards that hilltop, which is the capture location, and it looks like they're going to be setting up a defense up there. The rest of the red are a little spread out. I think they're just, a couple of guys are just kind of moving towards the schematics ever so slightly. A couple of guys moving towards the capture point. I'd expect them to, first secure the schematics and then to kind of, to organize and start moving in force and, consolidated towards the objective and try and secure that.
Well, the Wookiees are moving through town as we see 2 units, 3 units, I think. Another one was on another ATV, advancing through the town with ghillie suits, ready to advance that hillside. On that hillside.
Yeah, we've got a couple sporadic engagements here on the south side of that town, that south road between blue and red. An exchange of fire.
Kara takes it. Yep. Fictitious as well going down to Galaxy.
Yeah, it's a couple of red casualties.
RC Killer taking out 2 blue for us, so kind of evening out the casualty count at this point.
Yeah, good flank. Now Grester's also moving in, but it's already been... Oh, RC Killer did go down.
Yeah, to friendly fire, unfortunately. It was a Hail Mary nade that took out all 3 of those guys.
Now, interesting, blue also has their armored transport mobile right now. And I think what they're trying to do is locate where the schematics spawned right now, so that they have one guy in the graveyard, which is one of the positions where the schematics could start. However, it's not here. He's trying to identify whether it is here or not. He's looking at something on the ground, but that is not the schematics.
Nope, definitely is not. Well, I mean, similar animation, but not the schematics at this time. Let's take a look at where the actual schematics are, Stardog. We see 1 unit advancing towards that position.
Yeah, and I would expect him just to kind of sit out by the schematics, not to pick it up, and just to kind of maintain there, because it's very clear that blue doesn't know where they are right now. And if they are to pick up the schematics, then they have a global indicator that the carrier possesses the schematics. They know where it is. So it's very clear that blue does not know where the schematics are, because they were just over at that graveyard location, expecting that that may have been where the schematics were. But they're still very much in the dark.
This is one of the slowest starts to a Phase 3 that we've seen so far. As
Yeah.
both teams have never actually even made a move on each other's main positions at this time. We haven't seen an assault on the hill. We haven't seen the schematics being picked up yet.
It's been very interesting because the first 2 phases of this match were the fastest we've ever seen. And then to transition into Phase 3 here, and it be a much slower, methodical kind of approach, which I like to see, because this is really what it comes down to. And is this Phase 3 more often than not. And if you can have a very organized, methodical, thought-out approach, it's going to prove to be advantageous.
Absolutely. As we see now, Red 4 kind of making single-man pushes up onto that hillside. Rest are under fire from above.
I'll be honest, I am very surprised to see Blue 4 not consolidated at the capture point.
It's exactly the opposite from what we saw the first game.
Yeah. I mean, Red has really no way to identify this other than knowing that there's sporadic fire around, you know, outside of the capture point, they may be able to deduce that the majority of the forces aren't on top of the hill, but they really don't know. If they were to somehow get somebody on top of the hill and say, guys, there's nobody here, let's get the schematics up here, then maybe we'll see them start to move out, but it's relatively undefended.
Kara taking out Fictitious near that graveyard complex. Schematics still haven't been picked up. They're
very interesting.
1350 left, so I mean, just over halfway through this third phase timer, and I mean, ultimately, Stardog, if Red 4 doesn't even pick up the schematics and it ends in a draw, they will still be deemed the victor because they secured phase number 2 before Blue 4.
That's true. That is very true.
So perhaps,
I wouldn't like to see it come down to that, but
I wouldn't either. But perhaps that's a strategy we're seeing at this point.
that may be. But I know that they've got the competitive spirit in their blood, and I don't think that they're actually going to play that card. That's
Assault in
that
the
may
tower
be,
right now.
Yeah.
Marcy Killer taking out Heretic.
I think we see Red grab the schematics very soon. Seeing as though that they're going to have control of this hilltop very soon. Well, as I say that, Blue just got on site. They're
Dismounted a whole bunch of units. Tug is on location with a great GL coming down. Takes out one.
It seems that Red's taking no chances here. Until they have complete control of the capture point and they know that they have it secure, it doesn't appear that they're going to show any sign of grabbing the schematics and trying to move it.
Tugga doing damage with his GLs on top of this rock formation. Seems to be the one of two Red 4 defenders on that hill. Grester, Tugga, the only people from Red 4 on top of this upload point. Under fire with Alfred. I think.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one on the top of this hill.
RC Killer was able to get him, I think. Nope, Alfred's still alive. Never mind.
Nope, he's dead.
Wow, great nade. Let's take a look over by the schematics again, Stardog. Well, not much has changed.
Yeah, I don't expect much to change over there. I really expect the majority of the events to be happening right here on this hilltop, which
Red 4 is
Red controls right now.
Secured, yeah. I mean, a lot of their units are just spread out across the town. One in an
I'm trying to identify what the reason is for the red units. Okay, so one of them's in an armored transport, and the other RC Killer is just kind of idle out in the area. I'm not sure what the role of these guys are. I would assume that the armored transport is going to be the transport for the one gentleman that's waiting outside the schematics, so that they could send one guy in to grab the schematics, the other guy come pick him up. But the role of the other two guys that are kind of away from the capture point and not with the vehicle, I'm not really sure what their role is out there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. As we see on top of the hilltop right now, Grester able to revive Tugga. Oh, perhaps not. Oh, I mean, now we have... Oh, that's an interesting run around there from Enfin. He's going to be coming back the way he came.
I'm having trouble finding a way that Blue can win here without Red grabbing the schematics.
Huh. So, you've got to wonder, Star. They have they've ticked all the boxes that you need to grab that schematics and start heading towards the hill for the victory. They secure the hilltop. I mean, granted, it's not a very full secure, but they have units there. They have their Ifrit. They have their guys close to the schematic drop-off point. We may just be seeing a draw strategy.
Yeah, I mean, they actually, having secured phase 2, they have no reason to actually even grab the schematics.
They can sit back and relax.
The only thing that could come from them grabbing the schematics is, yes, they could get the win, which they don't need to secure this series. They could just go to the draw and have the tiebreaker because they've secured phase 2 in this match. But by grabbing the schematics, you then put the schematics into global play for both sides. And should you lose possession of the schematics and Blue somehow, or the OFCRA team somehow gains possession and then captures it, then you lose the series. So really, it's more beneficial to Red not even to touch the schematics at this point, because the series would be won.
Well, Twitch chat, I hope one of you speaks Spanish, because we're going to hop into the Armalusa chat right now and see what they're saying. Perhaps we can gain some insight on what their strategy is.
Hey,
Take a draw.
Tom Winter.
Hello.
MicOne. Hey,
Olha,
start out.
botaram um
Hey
like.
guys, how you doing?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Alright.
Alright, well, unfortunately, not much in terms of strategy. Very much, you can tell they're kind of relaxed, just kind of not exactly the kind of comms we've been seeing from teams that are, you know, in the action, super competitive, trying to take an objective. That kind of gives me a sign that they just might be sitting back, relaxing, sitting on that phase 2 victory to win the game.
I think they've identified the situation, same as we have, and understand that they have the Series 1 right now without touching those schematics.
Blue Force
Which
still
could-
seem to be trying to stay near where they think the schematics might be. I mean, we definitely have a generator or whatever this is on that point, but this is not the actual location of the schematics.
No, I'm just going to speak up and say I don't know if I necessarily agree with that rule set because I don't think it provides for the most competitive atmosphere. And it'll be interesting to see how if Bohemia addresses that. But to have it come down to a situation where both teams have a victory and it comes down to whoever secures phase 2 to not touch the schematics, that poses a pretty big problem in my eyes as far as the competitiveness of the tournament. But
Yeah, definitely,
because
but,
really,
I
it
mean-
nullifies all of phase 3 in a series. You know,
Definitely, yeah. I totally agree with you. I mean, that being said, though, at this point, it is a valid tactic. There's no rule set against it.
Absolutely.
And we see Redford doing it right now and may just end up coming up with a V as a result of it. 7 minutes, 30-second left in this third game.
it'll be interesting to see if we can bring in maybe a Bohemia representative or an official from the tournament to kind of get their take on that rule set, how it behaves, and if we have a proper understanding of it, and you know, if that's a strategy that's kind of welcomed.
Either way, Redford moving up onto that hillside, resecuring it. A great push and a nice line formation between this team right now.
Yeah, I think once again Armalusa, they identify the situation. I'm not so sure if OFCRA does as well, because right now I think they're in a situation where it's like, well, where's the schematics? We need to get the schematics to win, but they have no way of locating it because Armalusa's never actually picked it up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're the only team that's tasked with the retrieve. So
And I haven't seen the schematics be in this location that often, too. This might be actually one
it
of
was
the
here
first
last
times.
match.
Was it here last
Yeah.
match? Okay. never
Last
mind.
match it was in this location when OFCRA did pick it up. But yeah, it's so I really believe Armalusa identifies the situation. That's why they were so relaxed and kind of happy-go-lucky and having a good time and that sort of thing. And OFCRA, I'm not so sure if they've identified that there's really nothing they can do until Armalusa decides to pick up the schematics.
That or they just have to search for the schematics themselves and try and see if they can pick it up themselves. But I don't think an enemy team can pick up the schematics before it's been picked up by the other team, if that makes sense, Starduck.
Yeah, that makes sense. My understanding is that they cannot. My understanding is that the team that is tasked to retrieve it is the only team that can actually pick up the schematics at the
Initially.
beginning of phase 3.
Initially,
Yeah, initially. Well, we still got a skirmish going on at the capture point here on the hillside between both sides. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, really what it comes down to now is just bragging rights and who's got the biggest KD ratio at the end and that sort of thing, because without the schematics being picked up, the series is decided.
Just over 5 minutes remaining in this phase number 3. And yep, not much has changed in terms of the strategies for both teams. Lots of killing still occurring on top of this upload point, but no schematics.
Yeah, it's a shame to see. I'm looking at OFCRA right now. They're a little spread out. They have their armored vehicle somewhere out in a perimeter right now. There's an engagement going out outside from the hilltop right now. I'm not sure what the focuses of these two sides are right now. It's really just kind of all over the place with the schematics being... Now, as I say that, it looks like Red's moving in to grab the schematics as we speak.
This might be the push they're looking for, that we've been waiting for, that we've been hoping for, Stardog.
Yeah, I would really like to see them be good sports about it. Bring the schematics into play so that we can have a competitive match 3.
He might just be locking down this building.
He may be.
As he goes up the second stairs, I think that's exactly what's
And
happening.
you know what? What it comes down to is, should this play out the way that we expect, and that Armalusa does not grab the schematics here, it comes down to that transition that we talked about from OFCRA, and the advantage that Armalusa has had, securing the FOB, getting out to the uplinks first, and also identifying that the biggest fight in the last match was at that centralized alpha objective, where they sent the majority of their forces to make sure that they secured it. So not only did they have the jump on the other teams as far as transitioning from phase 1 into phase 2 to make sure that they got that tiebreaker, because it seems like that was a big focal point for Armalusa, was securing that phase 2 and that tiebreaker so that they could put themselves in this position, essentially nullifying phase 3 and securing the series in phase 2, which was a great identification and strategy from Armalusa, and identifying that that was the behavior of the rule set, and the transition for OFCRA being a little bit slower, moving out of phase 1 into phase 2, getting to the uplinks, and not bringing the majority of their forces to that alpha location may have cost them the series.
As we said, Startup, before this match began, the phase 2 of the series. There we go. Well, APOS is the flag carrier, so we may just see a push at the end of this game. Do we have the Ifrit moving up to support him?
Wow, I did not expect to see that happen.
We just might see a Hail Mary from Armalusa.
Well,
Action at this end of this match. I mean, 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. I don't know. It's going to be close.
This is going to be close, but this has given OFCRA a chance. It has given them life. They now have an opportunity to win this series.
We see right now that Armalusa Ifrit navigating the terrain. Very good on his part, getting away from that roadblock.
It's very important to say that OFCRA, the blue team, must capture the schematics. They must. And if this comes to a draw and Armalusa maintains the schematics, or whatever ends up happening, neither team scores the schematics, then Armalusa comes out as the victory, with the tiebreaker from this game 3.
Stardog, there's only 2 minutes left. I don't know if they'll have the time to even do that, as we see this Ifrit's just running down this MSR, head into the sea, as he advances further and further away from the area of operations.
Yeah, it may just be a victory lap for Armalusa, but the fact that the schematics are now in play gives them a chance. It may be a slight chance, but they have a chance.
And you know what? Beforehand, where we saw that, Green 4, OFCRA had no idea where the schematics were located. They were spread out all over the map trying to find it. Now that the schematics have been picked up, they're consolidated on this hillside, ready for defense. But unfortunately, defense isn't what they need right now. They need offense. Secure that schematics and get it to their own upload point, of which I don't think there's enough time to do.
Yeah. It looks like the carrier's moving up to the hillside right now for a capture within 1 minute remaining.
He's supported by some units to his rear and is currently stuck. Yermo advancing on that position.
I don't know what happened to that OFCRA Hunter, but I would really like to see that show up right now, because if they gain possession of the schematics, they're going to need that transport.
Team Master pushing up, at least attempting to push up the hill with his Ifrit. Unable to get enough momentum to push and destroy this tree in front of him, as he's going to be falling down back through the hill. 35 seconds remain in phase number 3. And Stardog, I think it might just be an Armalusa victory.
I think so. It's a shame. OFCRA put up a really good fight for this series. I was really impressed to see them come back in Game 2 with such an impressive turn, specifically in Phase 2 of Game 2. And then also in Phase 3 when they were able to capture the schematics. But the carrier is now on foot, moving up the hill. 10 seconds remaining in this match. It looks like it's going to end up being a draw.
As we have 5, 3, 2, and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, your victors for the quarterfinals C bracket. Up 2-0, or 2-1, excuse me, is Armalusa. And they will be advancing to the quarterfinals to face the outcome of the the semifinals, excuse me, to face the outcome of the quarterfinals D bracket that will be played later today.